Wow, you guys, so we are already coming to the end of this Diddy trial. I mean, it came fast and it's somewhat ending fast. But what was interesting from yesterday, the news that was quite interesting and shocking to some people was that Diddy was not going to, or his side is not going to call any witnesses, none at all, zero. But what they will do is, I guess, highlight certain evidence. I'm hearing particularly from Jane Doe, just to highlight some inconsistencies or to highlight that she was indeed consenting to the FOs and therefore was not, in their minds, as trafficked. So some experts feel this is really smart on the defense's side because what it does is it really just focuses on the prosecution's evidence and you, in essence, see whether it stands or it falls. And also keep in mind, if they were to have called certain witnesses, I mean, let's just keep it real. It's clear that Diddy may have engaged in some at least improper behavior. And some of his employees in particular were aware of these behaviors, and that includes the use of substances and things like that, or even witnessing certain abuse. So these are things that the prosecution, obviously, during cross examination of any defense witness, would highlight. So we're talking about witnesses that, in essence, would have maybe some of their hands a little dirty. So the defense does not want to risk making Diddy look even worse, particularly with such a high qualified or highly qualified prosecution that would no doubt give a strong cross examination. The prosecution called over 30 witnesses. We heard about the FOs, of course, with great detail. We heard about and saw again the infamous hotel video. We heard from certain victims, particularly Cassie, victims in terms of folks who work for Diddy. And obviously, victim number two with Jane Doe. So we heard their stories. So it's just a matter of whether the jury believes these stories and believes these women were in fact victims and not really just a part of the whole culture with Diddy. And it will be a tough case. Look, I always say, don't be surprised if the jury comes back with a not guilty. I do believe that technically the prosecution has proven, particularly the RICO charge and definitely the transportation of workers with S trafficking. I just have a feeling the jury may be hung on some of that. I believe Cassie has the strongest case with S trafficking. Jane Doe, I said that in my previous video. I'm not quite sure her case is strong when it comes to the S trafficking. But again, technically, I feel the prosecution has proven RICO, but it's really again about how the jury feels about that charge. You know, people are different. And all Diddy needs is one juror to say, absolutely not guilty, not guilty. And he could get a hung jury. I'm not quite sure he'll get 12 people to say not guilty. But we'll see if all 12 say guilty, however, because what can happen is you may have that one juror who's just adamant about the not guilty, but then the other 11 convince them that Diddy is guilty. But we shall see because look, for the prosecution side, look, Diddy is really not looked at as a good guy. In fact, his own defense said that during their opening. So the jury could go in there and say, we really just don't like him and just kind of vote on, yes, vote based on the evidence, but also kind of vote based on their feeling of him. But we shall see. Now, closing arguments is expected to happen Thursday. And I'm hearing that with the closings, they'll each be about 4 hours. And I have to say, those closings have to be strong because that will be, in essence, the last thing that the jury will hear. But let me know your thoughts below. Be sure to share and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time. Peace.